Hello there. My name's Mark, aka the Canardian. I can't believe we're finally saying hello there in a good context for Kenobi. I'm super excited to get into this, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I am joined, as always, by my favorite co-pilot in all the galaxy, Charlie Carden. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Hello there. Oh, wait. Somebody already said that. Okay. Hi. Hello to the people of Earth. Yes, no, how's everybody doing? It's Star Trek time. We're Star Wars time. We're Star Warsing it.
We're 30 seconds into this, Charlie.
Damn it. Nanu. So say we all.
You know what? You did it on purpose, so then I will not feel bad when I inevitably do it because I'm used to being on the Star Trek podcast with Charlie.
And that voice you hear is our special guest tonight, Katie Q. She already kind of introduced herself from Charlie's Star Trek podcast. It gets way too much time already mentioned on this show. But I do hope if you're a Trek fan, you listen to that show as well.
So do I.
Katie, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing very well. I'm excited to have branched out further into my slow takeover of Secret Friends Unite.
Slow, subtle takeover, and we're prepared to be taken. It's okay. We surrender.
We're so happy to have you on here. I'm super pumped to talk to you and get to know a little bit about your Star Wars story and jump into Kenobi and all the stuff that's happened since the last time we recorded. So it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right in because we have a whole lot of stuff to talk about today. So let's go straight into your Star Wars origin story. So we're gonna do a few rapid questions, but yeah, how did you get into Star Wars?
I remember watching it with my cousins when I was probably like maybe 5 or 6. Maybe a little bit later than that, but I remember I was not old enough to watch all of episode 3, or well, I guess episode 9.
Okay, yeah.
Episode.
The OG trilogy. Yes, the OG trilogy.
Your math that would be episode 6.
4, 5, 6.
I think.
Episode 6. Excuse me. Yeah,
I was going to say. I thought you were doing that Chicago math on the Star Wars. It was just, oh shit.
No,
what are we going to do now?
I'm just bad at math.
Okay, understood.
Yes. No, so I was not allowed to watch that because of the Rancor. My mom thought that would be too scary for me. So I specifically remember having to sit in the other room with my little brother, waiting until the part where that was done, and then they were supposed to come and get me so I could watch the rest of it.
It was that way with my ex-wife and my former stepson in episode 2 with the Nexu, the big cat thing. When it climbed up the pole and scratched Padme's back, she thought that was too scary for him. So,
right.
See, I always thought that The Empire Strikes Back was way more scary. Like that one always creeped me out, just
with
because
the Wampa and
with like the ice planet, and Yoda was cool, but he was also kind of creepy. Like he was a crazy old man, and he had the scary emperor. Luke almost falls off of a city.
The tripping out part in the where Luke goes on his little spirit quest and cuts Darth Vader's head off, and then it's him inside.
It's freaky,
creepy shit in that one.
And it's all everything's so dark. It's like everything is like, you can't see what the hell's going on. So
that's the thing. Honestly, in my Star Wars journey, it took me until probably maybe like just a few years ago when I was rewatching that scene where I realized it was supposed to be Luke's face. I always thought it was just some random woman.
Watch out! It's Dorothy Hamill.
Who is this?
Oh my god!
Today I saw someone. I think it was on Instagram, but someone did like one of those like gender swapping like Snapchat effects on Luke, but like. Yeah, Mark Hamill looks pretty good as a woman. I don't know. It was like I had some weird feelings.
I could see that
going on there. Let's get to your favorite Star Wars movie.
Okay, so I need to preface this because anytime someone asks me, I always feel like I should say aesthetically speaking, not story, not plot, not nothing, because the movie itself I thought was not great. But The Last Jedi, aesthetically speaking, was absolutely beautiful. Horrible story-wise, but visually speaking, had some beautiful cinematic moments.
Right, the Octo and the Salt Planet crate.
Yes,
and then,
there was just some really cool stuff going on there. So
the Holdo maneuver, all the ships and I agree.
As far as like a holistic, like everything taken into account, probably Rogue One.
Oh, all right.
That's the first
Great
Rogue One I
answers.
think we've gotten. But yeah, I was having a Star Wars. My new barber, who runs a completely Star Wars themed barbershop. I shit you not, here in Grand Rapids on Southeast Side.
Okay, you
For
have to tell me where they are.
Forest Hills Barbershop. It's the corner of Forest Hill and Cascade Road, so very close to my house. Yes, we were talking and we were espousing the great value of Rogue One and how just on this very podcast a few episodes ago, Rogue One pushed Return of the Jedi out of the top three for me. My top three became Empire, Rogue One, A New Hope, and then Jedi was boop in the next third. So yeah, love that film. Oh my God.
Right. Katie, favorite character?
Ooh, again, that's difficult. I think Ahsoka is up there, but Sabine Wren is also.
Ooh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, going animated. Awesome.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Great
I'm an
character.
animated fan.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good that you're on this one. We're going to be talking about Celebration. You must have freaked out. We're gonna get a little bit of ahead of ourselves right now, but like, how bad did you freak out when you saw Sabine?
Oh my gosh. I was so I saw the tweet that she sent out where she was like, I have been waiting forever to tell you this and I could find, and I was like, oh yes. And there had been some leaks about possibly having them like a tie into Rebels. And I remember I had rewatched Rebels right after I think they had announced an Ahsoka show, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how cool would it be?" Because it ends with Sabine being like, "All right, we're gonna go find
Right.
Ezrin, and it's gonna be awesome." And I was like, "How cool would it be if that's what the show is about?" And my spouse and I had like a few moments of like, "Yeah, that'd be really cool. They're not gonna do that." And then like they're setting it up where, and I'm like, "If they don't do that,
Especially with the setup in The Mandalorian. When she confronts the
Magistrate, what's her butt? Yeah.
Magistrate, yeah,
Yes.
and she's like, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? And it's like
Everybody's all
she's still like, this is part of her searching. Like, when's the rest of the Ghost Crew going to show up? Like,
right.
this is happening.
And she's searching for a long time because Mando's plus 5 years Return of the Jedi, and the end of Rebels is 2 years before. I checked it recently, 2 years before New Hope. So that's 7 years that she's still looking for and not finding. So yeah.
And I mean that's probably good because you have to kind of explain away Ahsoka from the OT, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. She's
there somewhere. Like, what
she's on a
out.
quest like Q-Tip in A Tribe Called Quest. That's what's going on. Big time.
Based on your answer so far, I think I know which way you're going to go with this, but maybe not. Light side or dark side?
Well,
force powers.
To quote my favorite character, I am no Jedi. So I don't think I would actually go towards either. And I apologize. My dog is very angry because she's stuck on the couch right now. But I definitely couldn't go dark side because I'm not mean enough. But I also, there's no way I could give up like all of my like worldly belongings and like, loves. And I have like 6 animals. So I can't go full Jedi either.
I totally dubbed our dog a Jedi tonight. I said, Obi Wan Kenobi. Totally awesome.
Nice. That's kind of why I phrased that question in that way. Because I'm going to ask, I have 2 more questions. And one of those is your affiliation, which do you think you kind of lean towards? But for light side, dark side, I think you can be light side. And I've said it on the show before tons of times. Like, I want them to explore more factions. We've seen Jedi, Sith, Night Sisters. We've seen the Force trio and that kind of stuff. And the Bendu, like, there's a lot more to the Force than just a couple of factions. So let's explore more of them and
it's more than a 2-party system.
Yes. There are more lightsaber colors than lifesavers. Think about that.
This is true.
It's a parallel.
Which is the next question, also an incredibly difficult one. As Charlie knows, my hair changes color drastically all the time because I love me some color. So this question also, which is my favorite lightsaber color or my lightsaber color of choice. And I know that there's supposed to be meanings behind the colors. I'll be honest, I don't know those meanings. So I'm just going to go off of the color. And I'm usually drawn to orange, with purple being my second favorite.
Love it.
Ooh.
Okay, that's great.
The Bad Mamma Jamma purple, which was of course created specifically by the request of Samuel L. Jackson when he took the role. He said, "I want a purple lightsaber," and George was like, "Who am I to say no to Samuel L. Jackson?
Right?
It's done."
I love watching
Awesome.
that clip because like it's recorded and you get to see it happen in real time of George Lucas being like, "Well, they're usually just blue and green," and Sam Jackson's like, "It's gonna be fucking purple." And like George Lucas is like,
Did he give him
We'll
the black
see.
did he give him the black smoke moan eyes?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a pretty great interaction. Orange is an interesting one because it's shown up now. I think in some old Republic stuff. I think the first canon appearance of that one was in a video game, Fallen Order, and it was like a pre-order bonus, but it still I think counts in canon.
I
As
think
far
it was
as I
in
know.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Right.
I think because I feel like I saw it when I played KOTOR the first time, and I was like, "There's an orange lightsaber. That's so cool."
Yeah.
I mean, why couldn't they be any color? It's whatever they found on,
Yeah, exactly.
Ilum before it was Starkiller base. But I digress.
And we have had someone, I think someone on the show once said like rainbow or something that would change with their emotions or something.
Which would be very cool.
Oh, so it's like
which-
basically like a mood ring of a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I would just like it if there's like multiple things where I can just click it and it changes whichever
click it
color
onto
I
it.
want it
Well,
to.
they did. Mark, what a great segue to talk
I
about the
was
thing you
just
like
gonna
to
say,
talk about.
looking for a real lightsaber that changes colors infinitely. Go to levelupsabers.com. They have a ton of hilts, like replica hilts and new, just original ones. Some are great for cosplay. Some are great for actually hitting off of stuff and actually doing battle. There's an affiliate link in the show notes. It gives me a little kickback and helps support us in the show here. And so that's levelupsabers.com. And it just follow Level Up on like TikTok and stuff. Alan's awesome. And we just had a special appearance by a dog. I think.
Oh no, man! I clicked off screen. Well, you know what? One of my cats will be along soon.
There, look at
that.
Oh my
She was the one
goodness!
barking in the background.
Oh my!
If you're not watching the video, you just missed a cute pup.
Practically a cat. Like I said, at some point, Jessie, my cat kitten, will come by and she'll be bumping the screen on the other side.
Usually makes an appearance.
Scratching at me. Oh yeah, very good.
Always welcome.
Very good. So I know that I'll be hitting up Level Up lightsabers within the next year or so. I need a hero Return of the Jedi Luke saber. Going to need that double Ahsoka saber for April because it's an interest of hers in cosplay. So
absolutely,
yeah.
And so if anyone is getting a saber, I've been watching a lot of stuff that Alan's been doing and talking on TikTok and stuff. So, but if anyone doesn't follow him there, he's been talking about what kind of saber to choose. So there's two different kinds. There's like a baselit one, which is good for if you're going to be hitting it off of something. It's basically like a flashlight that shines up through the blade. They're not as bright, but they can take a beating. He did one video recently that he doesn't recommend you doing, but he ran it over with his car and it was still fine.
I take a pass on that.
Don't try that, but like, yeah, you can. Then the other one is like a NeoPixel, or he says Xenopixel on his site, I believe. But that's basically has LEDs throughout the blade and is much more fancy. You can do different effects and colors, and that actually does like a rainbow effect, which is awesome. And those ones, though, because there's lights throughout the blade, you don't want to be hitting that blade on stuff. So that one's better for cosplay and like poses and TikTok videos and all that kind of shit. So. If you're going after a lightsaber, don't always go for the most expensive ones if you're going to be beating it off of stuff, which is why I bought the baselit. So there we go.
Beating it off of stuff, not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I'm going to be ordering 2 more. My nephews are coming home this summer, and I'm going to be training some Padawans. Anyway, back to the question. Last one. Your favorite affiliation? This can be Jedi, Bounty Hunters, Sith, Rebels, whatever. I don't.
So
Jawas. How you feel?
This is this the affiliation, like the group I would be with, or just the people that I like the stuff of?
I'm going to let you interpret this question.
Well, so my spouse loves the Rebels, and so every time we've ever played anything where it's like a like a versus thing, I always end up taking the Empire. I know fascist Nazis, not cool. However, I do love their brutish architecture and vibe. So I think they do have some really awesome ships. I do love the Empire ships.
They're really crushing it when it comes to construction.
Yeah,
that's
like
for
the
sure.
Interceptor, top notch in my opinion.
Mhm.
So we do have the little minis like ship game, like the dogfighting collector. Yeah. So I always just tell him that he's part of the Rebel Alliance and he's going to die. And he's a traitor.
that sounds like
as I'm like flipping around with my little interceptors.
That sounds like being married to my ex-wife. You're gonna die. You're a traitor. Yeah, that's awesome.
You're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
Take away.
Exactly.
The Rebel watch strap on. All right. That's good to know. That is very surprising based on every other answer that you've given. You're like,
I would never be part of the Empire, but I do love their ships.
Right, exactly. Something to be said. Yeah, like I said, something to be said for that craftsmanship. You know what I mean?
If you can tell, I am an artist because like half of my answers were okay. Well, visually speaking,
right. The Last Jedi was great because to look at it. So if you just looked at it but closed your ears and you didn't have to listen to the talking,
you can have a soundtrack. But just don't listen to anything else.
Right. Just turn up John Williams real wide in the background and turn the volume all the way down on the TV.
That works. So let's move on to the news because we've got a ton of stuff to cover. Star Wars Celebration just happened. I know I'm going to miss stuff, but I also think most people at this point, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably read or seen your favorite bit of news from Celebration. So I want to run through a few highlights and then we can just kind of like list our favorite thing that happened. So a few highlights very quickly. We got an Andor trailer and release date, August 31st, 2022. We saw a sneak preview of Jedi Survivor, the next video game after Fallen Order. That has a 2023 release window. Pretty broad. I'm guessing probably fall.
Quick sidebar, if there's no soundtrack by Survivor, the game is a failure. If I don't hear a little bit of Eye of the Tiger... Oh no, the search is over. The search is over. The search is over. Somebody jump in. I'm going to get somebody to sing with me someday. Katie rickrolled me once, but that was all the singing I ever got out of her.
I did.
Sorry.
For sure. We got our first look at Ahsoka, an introduction to Chopper, and like I said earlier, Sabine, a tease of Hera, and a mural of the Ghost crew, like we already talked about a little bit. John Watts' Star Wars Skeleton Crew was officially announced. Jude Law is going to star in that one, 2023 release window as well. And this is the one that follows the 10-year-olds finding their way across the galaxy. They're a little bit lost. They're away from home. Is this going to be Goonies in space? I don't know, but I'm excited. We've got Mando Season 3 officially coming in 2023. People were kind of hoping, myself included, this was going to be 2022, but here we go. We did get a description, although this was only shown at the convention, and I'm sure maybe there's some leaks online and stuff if you feel like going to hunt those down. But the footage showed Mandalore hinted at a bit of conflict with Bo-Katan, and apparently Babu Frick will appear in this show. Don't know how, don't know why. That's going to be great. We have a trailer for The Bad Batch Season 2 that has a fall 2022 release window and featured my boy, the Wookiee Jedi, Gungi.
Oh, man, Gungi's so great.
Oh, my goodness. One of the reasons
I went with elemental nature for my lightsaber build because I needed that Bylark tree wood hilt just like my boy. So there we go. Awesome. We got Star Wars Visions Volume 2 officially coming in spring of 2023. Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, that's the anthology animated series. That one's coming fall of 2022. So quick after the announcement on that one, which is awesome. Yeah, Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation coming quickly this summer, August 5th. And
Mark, I have to put that in our schedule because I missed out on that. I was mapping out our recording schedule through January with with Andor and then the overlapping Bad Batch, but I did not incorporate the Tales of the Jedi or the Summer Vacation, which we will obviously cover because that's what we do.
For sure. And speaking of Lego, Charlie's favorite topic, of course, we've got the BD1 build from Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, I suppose. But this is a physical one, not like a Disney Plus special. Looks awesome. There's Star Wars High Republic Disney Plus show, also going on to Disney Junior. That one's aimed at pre-K kids. So my son's going to be perfectly in line to get some High Republic Disney stuff, teaching some lessons. Non-Star Wars related, we got an Indiana Jones 5 teaser image and a trailer for Willow. Holy crap, that's a lot of stuff.
Back.
Oh my god! So friggin' much stuff, and I mean, are we just we're all gonna pick one? What do we have to fight over them?
Just pick one that got you the most hype. Let's start with Katie.
Bad Batch trailer.
All right,
nice.
What was it about the Bad Batch trailer that got you hyped?
I absolutely loved season 1. I'm just really excited for more Omega. I want to know what her deal is, and I want to know more about her story, and I'm super, super stoked. So
excellent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And there were a few. I remember talking about Bad Batch when it first came out, and it was like, it kind of feels like a filler episode. I'm guessing they're going to fill this in. It's going to tie in. I'm hoping for a little bit more of those, like, here's where this ties in, here's where that ties in, here's who she's going to meet or who she is or that kind of thing. So I'm very excited for Bad Batch 2. Charlie.
This is a tough one. It's a tie for me between Andor because it's Rebel Alliance based. This is 5 years before, Rogue One / A New Hope. So we're getting a little bit more of the genesis of it. We've got Genevieve O'Reilly back as Mon Mothma. I would expect Bail Organa could pop up. Other legacy characters could pop up. Mando could pop up. You don't know. I mean, he's out there doing his thing. Boba Fett could pop up. So there's a chance for integration. But again, when I think about Ahsoka, I am always been in love with Rosario Dawson. She's, top 5 on the hall pass list without a doubt. If I ever ran into her in real life, oh, good God, I would have no chance. But in my little mind's eye, anyway, but I also loved Rebels, and to think about the possibility of having all of those characters, it sounds like there'll be all of them, obviously minus Kanan, who doesn't make it past the series, appear in live action. Like I said, I followed that show bit by bit, absolutely loved it. So it's a firm tie for me. I might tilt a little bit more towards Ahsoka because that's my wife's favorite Star Wars character, near as I can tell. So that'll be big excitement around here. So yeah, crazy.
Katie, Charlie said 2. Do you have another one that got you really excited?
Ahsoka, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I've already quoted her like twice, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You want me to draw you a picture?
So based on both of you being hyped for Ahsoka, I want to ask, where do you hope they go with Ahsoka? Do you hope it's just the hunt for Ezra? Do you hope there's a little bit more flashbacks, new stuff? Where do you want them to go with this one?
I feel like they did a really good job kind of cleaning up her story with the last season of Clone Wars that they did that was specifically kind of
that arc.
Like that last arc. They kind of just went, okay, she has found out where she wants to go. Like she was able to kind of close that last chapter of not being a Jedi and kind of where she wanted to go with it. In her appearances in Rebels gave a very strong sense of like her being willing to help, but only to a certain extent. So I really am just kind of curious as to where she's going from here. I don't really need them to fill in the kind of backstory so much because it's, Ahsoka's gonna Ahsoka. She's probably, helping out and being sassy and, being a badass like she does.
Sassy.
But I'm really more interested in her interactions with the crew of the Ghost and how those relationships will go because her last family ended so badly and it was so traumatic for her that I think it's going to be really difficult for her to open up and be able to be accepted and accepting of a new clan. Like what the Ghost family kind of does. And there's a lot of hurt and pain that's going on with that family too, as far as losing Kanan and losing Ezra. So I'd really love to see kind of what's going on there.
Gotcha. And I think is funny, we'll touch this in Kenobi, but the chance of having multiple Tamura Morrison spread across, I'd love to see Rex, who we know is listed as the character of Grandpa at the Battle of Endor. He has been identified as when they run out of the shield bunker, and when Han runs past the guard and taps him on the shoulder, and he chases him around the corner, and there's all the rebels standing there pointing guns at him. The guy with the big bushy beard, that's Rex, that's Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that he, becomes a regular Rebel Alliance guy. So yeah, what is he doing 5 years later? Hanging out with Ahsoka. That's what I'm saying.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be it'd be very interesting to see where they take this. I am wondering if they're going to show, because apparently Dave Filoni has written the scene where she meets Luke for the first time. Because when we got the introduction in whatever the book of Boba Fett, when they take that little diversion.
You mean Mandalorian season 2.5?
Yeah, that one.
Season 2.99999.
Exactly. So when we get that, like, it's kind of already been established that they know each other. Like, they've already met. It happens off, but apparently, in order to write more of Ahsoka's story and to write that scene, Dave Filoni had to like make up the backstory. So he wrote that scene, or like that arc, but didn't want to place it in Boba Fett and didn't know where to put it. So he's still looking for a place. And I'm wondering if that's going to be this show.
Honestly, if David Filoni's handling this, that would make me even happier, because anything that he's done, I have been thrilled with so far.
Yeah. He's, aside from George Lucas, probably one of the best Bibles that we have for what Star Wars is. His understanding is pretty much direct, as direct as you can get, aside from George Lucas, which is saying something. So I'm very excited for that one. As far as the other stuff I'm excited for, I'm gonna throw out the Skeleton Crew for sure, because Goonies in space, or that kind of like coming of age, Stranger Things, any of the, like that kind of like, follow some kids getting into some shenanigans and throw Jude Law in there for some reason. Like, yeah, okay, I can mess with that.
It's gonna be like herding cats. He'll be like, "Oh, you crazy kids!"
I was thinking
with a much better
Hawkeye.
accent.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of Hawkeye, Young Avengers style of him just being tired and exhausted all the time as a bunch of 10-year-old Jedis run around.
He'll be like the little old lady who lived in a shoe.
Yep,
that'll work for sure. And like I mentioned before, I'm excited for the High Republic Disney Plus thing that's aimed at little kids. I mentioned before we started recording, I have like a half dozen Star Wars shirts, and I'm wearing a Bluey shirt. So most of what I watch is with my son and his kids' cartoons and shows. And and I like when they're like Bluey, where Bluey's a parenting show that kids can watch. If anyone's watched it, or if you haven't watched it and you want to check it out on Disney Plus, it is 100% a parenting show that just happens to like entertain kids as well. And so I think Disney's pretty good at that, of coming up with stuff that's not just dumbed down. Like, there's obviously some really dumbed down like kid shows on Disney Junior and whatever, but if they can do something cool with some like good lessons and stuff here, I think that will be awesome. So nice. If that comes out 2023 or so, I'll have like a 3-year-old, so he'll be right in that age to kind of like start grabbing some of those lessons and hopefully find the Star Wars stuff interesting. And that'll be, aside from like some Lego stuff, maybe that'll be kind of a first introduction to Star Wars. Cause like the Clone Wars, I've had Clone Wars on before, and he has no interest if it's not like bright colors and singing and dancing and stuff. So,
man, that's Ewoks all the live long day. The colors are a little more subdued, but the singing and dancing and cannibalism, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe I should try them on Ewoks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I watched an episode of the Droids one from the 80s, and outside of the song from Sting, could not make it through the first episode.
No. Rough stuff. No. Well, let's get into what we're all here for. I wish we had someone that did a better Maul impression. Charlie, you're doing the actions. Kenobi! I don't want to
dub me in. Kenobi. There you go.
There you go. So we're covering episodes 1, 2, and 3, because we got episodes 1 and 2 dropped Wednesday, that Friday,
the 27th,
and then episode 3 dropped last Wednesday. By the time people are listening to this show, maybe we should drop it a day early, because episode 4 is going to be out. People are going to
Right.
be listening to this recap and watching episode 4. But we're not going to do a very in-depth breakdown of each single scene in each episode. That's been done. Go watch New Rockstar.
Yeah, New Rockstars is my favorite.
YouTube.
Yeah.
There's some Easter eggs and stuff like that, and feel free to throw those out when we're talking about it. But I just want to get a sense from you guys, like, what did you think overall so far? Let's start there.
Katie first.
Oh, I don't know if you want me to go first.
Oh God. Okay.
I read some Twitter comments first if you guys want to take a second.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go for it. If you got some Twitter comments, go nuts.
Yeah, so we put out on Twitter today, Charlie, you put something out and I kind of retweeted you to get a sense of things. And I just said, let us know your thoughts on episode 1 to 3. So we had a few people comment, Louis Wan Kenobi, at DinsJarin327 on Twitter. Awesome account, always interacts and stuff. Said, would love to hear our thoughts on Vader letting Obi-Wan go and what he could have been thinking in the moment. Or did he just enjoy the hunt? Did he just enjoy hunting Obi-Wan? Or was this Anakin in his mind being conflicting him and preventing Darth Vader from killing his former master?
Wow.
So I shot back and I asked, like, what do you think? Like, what are your suspicions? And he said, I read that as Vader's biggest, maybe only fear is that Anakin would come back out and overpower Darth Vader. So I was wondering if in that moment Anakin was actually preventing him from killing Obi-Wan. It could be just that Vader wanted to keep hunting him, wanted to make him suffer, like he was saying in the episode, and could use Obi-Wan to find more Jedi because it was Obi-Wan that sent out that message. Darth Vader probably intercepted that, saw it, knew that Obi-Wan was the one that sent the warning, and thought maybe some Jedi could come after. So that's some good thoughts there. So we will get to that scene, or do you guys want to start on that scene and give your thoughts on why Darth Vader let him go? We're skipping to episode 3 here.
Why not? I mean, because again, that's the meat, right? I mean, you had the slow build up, you had kind of the in between. You know, we're on the gunky planet, and there's got to be some interaction between little Leia, who chews scenery in every scene she's in. She's fantastic. That young lady who just celebrated her birthday, by the way, turned 10 years old. That was news. That was news this week. But yeah, I mean, the meat of it, the showdown that everybody wanted to see, which was barely that, because again, Kenobi is like, dude, what you been doing for the last 10 years? He's sloppy Sue. He cannot. He couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. I think Anakin's Vader's hatred burns so brightly. That's the thing that keeps him alive, that big metal iron lung. But I don't think he's got to savor that flavor. This is what he's lived for. I think he has always. I don't know if we know he feels that Kenobi is still alive. So is he as equally surprised that he's finding Kenobi after the purge? Because the last thing he saw through the flames in his eyeballs was Kenobi taken off. With his wife and his droids. He ripped him off. So yeah, the question becomes, did Vader know Kenobi was out there all this time? Was he always looking for Kenobi? Because
I think it was.
Yeah,
because they were talking, because that's what the third sister Reva was talking about, was that they were specifically hunting,
right,
and that they knew if she found Kenobi, then that would get her.
Right.
The credit or the respect that she quote unquote deserved.
Oh, office politics are the worst. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, is it brown nosing to the nth degree, black nosing, because Vader is ensconced in black. I don't know. He must have black ass. Well, it's charred. He's a little bit fricasseed. But anyway, yeah. So is Vader unwilling to kind of let go of the quick death. I mean, you saw him dragging Obi-Wan through the flames. I just watched the episode just now before I got on. You know, he's all charred up, but you know, not on his, not the face, not the moneymaker. So, but yeah, he's all burned up at the end of it. And then clearly in the next episode, he's going to go and get healed up. And then this is what Oxford and I were talking about yesterday. They're going to have, you know, like a Rocky IV training montage where he's getting his ass in shape. You know, what was Rocky doing when he was in Russia? He was hauling the big tree tire, or the big tractor trailer tire, and punching trees. And so he's going to have to be doing all that shit to get in shape.
Only if it's set to seagulls. Stop it now.
Oh,
it's the only way I'll accept that.
No.
Not even the music of Survivor, which was from the Rocky IV soundtrack. Not gonna fly. Okay, all right. That's fine. I understand.
Yeah.
No, I would say that he is going to need to get in shape, but I don't think it's so much physical. I think it's mental. And I think part of the problem is I don't know if they've been portraying this really well. And this is going to get kind of into some of the grievances that I've had with the show, is that it just doesn't seem like it holds some meat. I really want to like it. I want to like the characters. You know, I love, you know, Kenobi. Reva seems really dynamic. But it just doesn't seem like there's a lot there. Like, especially like with Vader, like Hayden Christensen, they had a specialist come in, like for a movement specialist, to make sure he was moving and behaving like Vader did. And when he was walking down, like I felt like it was like a 20-minute montage of him like walking down the street so that they could it was like bad guy kicks puppy. Just so they could show him, you know, and be like, oh, he's evil. He just randomly killed a kid because he could. And I'm like, it's Vader. Everybody knows he's evil. We don't need to have all of this kind of stuff.
Quick sidebar, if I can point to the shelf right here, the Cobra Commander in the I think it was the 100th issue of the G.I. Joe comic, he literally stepped off of a Cobra truck and kicked a puppy on the splash page.
Yes, that's where the trope comes from, is bad guy kicks puppy.
Exactly.
You need to make sure you know that he's bad.
Right, and he didn't have a mustache to twirl because he wears this thing. So yeah, that's what you got to do.
Well, I would say that because of like his behavior completely up to that point, like he knew Kenobi was there, just like Kenobi knew that, you know, as soon as Vader stepped off that ship. So I think it was really kind of the rivalry of it. Like you were saying, it's kind of that animalistic hunt, because they're trying to show that Vader has no qualms about hurting. He is there to revel in it, which is honestly feels a little counterintuitive to Vader as a character, because he always hurt with a purpose. Like this isn't his grandson, what's his face, I can't believe
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, this isn't Kylo Ren, where he would just like kill someone because he lost his temper,
or just chop stuff up. Property damage. Property damage was the worst with that guy.
Yeah, they hadn't really shown Vader killing just to kill for just the fun of it. There was always like, it was rebel soldiers, or it was, you know, a guy who had disobeyed him or was talking back to him. So I wasn't really sure what they were going with that, but that's kind of a weird side tangent. But I'd like to see them trying to explore more of the PTSD that Obi-Wan seems to have dealing with Anakin, because they've like been kind of displaying it, but they haven't really gotten into it yet. And it makes everything feel really surface so far.
Yeah, that's I guess the downside of this being only 6 episodes is that I think they are treating it a little bit more like a movie, which this was supposed to be at first. It was supposed to be another one of those anthology Rogue One, Solo, Boba Fett movie at one point, Obi-Wan, like this was all. So I think they're taking an approach to this that is still a little bit like a movie, where you don't get those deep character dives in most like 2-hour kind of pew pew space wizard movies or whatever, right? So it's like they hint at it a little bit, but I'm wondering if him being injured will be the way to get in there, whether it's with some flashbacks or with him just kind of sitting there and have to talk out his emotions while he kind of heals and get into that stuff. I'm wondering if episode 4 will give us a little bit more of that deep character dive that
that makes me quasi afraid of. Katie, you remember in Picard, here we go, full Star Trek, in the most recent season, when Picard was in a coma for like 10 minutes and he's like, I'm having all these visions of the past and my mother and blah, blah, blah. So that was, I mean, that whole season was a waste. And we talked about ad nauseum. But if there is something like this, if there is something like that, Mark, like you described, I think there could be value in it, but it would have to be brief and poignant to move it through, because the whole, character in a coma dream sequence episode that's one of the worst tropes that's out there.
Yeah.
We just saw that a lot with Boba Fett. And
oh my God, yes.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah, with Boba Fett, they spent half the season of him dreaming it under a Tuscan sun. It's a joke I made in SFU. It killed between Todd and I. We were cutting it up. I can tell it's crickets over here. And then he kicked the show over to another dude. So not that we need to rehash how much we dislike the book of Boba Fett, but yeah, if there's something where he's in a back to tank and he's healing, but he's like, well, this thing and blah blah, and I'm having visions of this thing and that thing, and boom, I got my mojo back, and I'm going to get a new robe. Then you're going to see me pumping. You're going to see me pumping iron. Like I said, he's going to be hauling that tractor tire. He's going to be chopping wood, because everybody knows that's how you get in shape. He's going to be running up a mountain. I'm all of
milk dripping down his beard in the suns.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
new milk was a bad choice.
The glass cage of emotion.
Sorry, Katie, you were saying.
Punted Baxter.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
I got to watch that movie real soon.
To get back to kind of what you were saying, Mark, and also to tie in what Charlie was saying with Picard, is that I honestly felt like where Picard had to shoved everything, every random plot point, they're just grabbing
kitchen
plot
sink
points. Yeah, as many as they could into as many little episodes as they had. Where this one, it makes sense now that it was a movie, because I just felt like every time there was a scene, the director was sitting there going, stretch it out, just making that stretch it out theater motion, because everything felt like it dragged, and there was really no point in it. I honestly, I really feel like they should have just cut the Order 66 scene in the beginning. That went up, and I was like, oh, this is really bad timing. This is horrible timing, and there was really no need for it. And without even picking up a warning, because I watched it yesterday for the first time. There was not a warning. There was even Stranger Things.
I thought there was a warning now. Didn't they add a warning to it?
There was no warning.
You talk about right at the beginning with the kids and I watched it. Maybe I was looking down because my ADD. I'm doing this and it's on, so I might have totally missed that.
I didn't see anything.
I read that they added a warning. That's weird,
but it also didn't seem necessary. Just as far as story-wise goes.
To tie into Reva's story or something that's coming later. I don't think that's there by accident, but I don't think we've seen it yet. So I'm guessing that's going to be an episode 5-6 reveal of why that's there, what's happening, that kind of stuff. But back to the question before we keep going dive on this one. Personally, for me, I think it was maybe a little bit of both. I think Anakin may have been trying to peek through a tiny little bit, but I also really think Vader just wanted to play with him. Katie, what you said kind of resonates with me, which is we see him do this essentially Rogue One hallway scene without a lightsaber this time. He just walks through this village, just randomly twerking some necks around and just dragging people. This is an unhinged Vader that we haven't seen. And maybe 10, 15 years down the road, when we see the original trilogy, Vader's calmed down a little bit, but this is pure anger, animalistic Vader.
Johnny Cranky Pants.
Yeah.
Boom.
This is not a Vader that we've explored, especially not in live action. So it's really seeing and even just seeing him drag Obi Wan through the flames. You get a sense that he's just having fun. He's doing this the same way in the comics that he was having fun with Ochi of Bastoon.
Right. Yeah. And that whole arc where he was stranded on that's right.
It was is Ochi going to best Vader? Oh, is he going to do this? Vader lost his legs, replaced him with droid legs, and was seemingly beaten. And then he just got, what did you hear the eye of, shoot, the name's escaping me, but he heard something calling through the Force. Right. And he just basically was just oh yeah, I'm done with you. By the way, this has just been fun for me. I'm sorry, Ochi, you're the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, but this has just been a fun thing. I'm through with this now. Goodbye. I'm going over here because there's something more interesting. Like that's the Vader that I think
glossing over and moving on. There you
yeah,
go.
like he's doing this as a test to himself. He's doing this to prove that he can, because he wants to prove that he can beat Obi-Wan. He wants. It doesn't matter if Obi-Wan gets the high ground. This time it's going to work.
And there was no high ground. They were face to face.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
And this is also the Vader that turned off his freaking breathing apparatus to sneak up on Obi-Wan. Like,
right.
Yeah, he's unhinged. He's just out for it. And I think he's just having fun.
Rocking with Dockin. Awesome.
Let's get to another couple. So Todd did we get the montage of Obi-Wan training and getting ripped to Eye of the Tiger? You know my response to that, Todd. I already covered it with the seagulls. We did get Estelle, a friend of mine on Twitter at STKY Walker. So like Skywalker, but with a T in there. So Estelle said, there is so much to say since everything that has happened so far was too intense to be true. I didn't expect it to be that intense that quick. So kind of opposite of what Katie's been saying, where it's like drawn out, like, but it did get pretty intense. She didn't think we'd see Vader this quickly. She thought they'd hold that back, maybe like the last episode or two, I guess. It continued on. Also, I really love how they built Obi-Wan's character in the series. Find it very realistic with the fact that he hasn't used the Force for so long. Of course, he cannot get all his capacities back too quickly, which explains kind of why he was bested and why he's like a little rusty and all that kind of stuff.
That was the point I was trying to make to Todd, because Todd, even in our episode of SFU, which will come out on Friday, he was just ripping into like I was talking about it, and I like couldn't drown him out. He wanted to criticize. Why was Obi-Wan not ripped and in shape and blah, blah. I'm like, well, you know what? He's still a human being. He's dealing with the PTSD of everything that happened. He's hopeless. His life sucks. He's working in a friggin' meat slicing cannery around bones and and then he rides an anteater home and he lives in a cave and a Jawa's ripping him off and everything sucks. No women, no social life. Everything sucks. So yeah, you know what? He's probably not exactly living in the high life of the Force and feeling super great. He's not talking to Qui-Gon. He's lost that connection. So he's kind of that dude who has nothing to look forward to. He's kind of living in Groundhog Day. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I can see why he would be out of touch, but he may simply need the push of, getting dragged through a burning fire. And, the fact that he failed in his mission to rescue Leia, which we see right here at the end of this third episode, that Leia walks right into the trap with Reva. And so obviously she's going to be Leia napped and he's going to have to rescue her all over again. So yeah, he's going to need a big old push. And I think that we're going to see that big push materialize in episode 4. That's what I think.
Yeah. So, and Estelle kind of answered the question that we were talking about before. She one of her final tweets, she did a kind of a series. But in my opinion, Vader lets him go because he's been waiting so long to get revenge that he needs it to be slow. He wants to draw it out. I think he wants Obi-Wan to suffer the same way he did, letting him think about what happened in episode 3 and taking his time before they meet again and he can best him. So, yeah, pretty nasty. And thank you, Estelle and Lou or Louis. I gotta learn how to say your name. It's Louis Wan Kenobi. Anyway, thank you guys so much for writing in. That's awesome. I think I missed one. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Bright Suns podcast. I think so far they've masterfully painted the picture of where Obi-Wan is emotionally after the kind of trauma he faced. The first faced off with Vader, and he was beaten so easily because he was crippled by fear. There's something we haven't touched on yet. Obi-Wan lost the fight. Vader didn't win. Obi-Wan lost. Crippled by fear. The remainder of this journey is going to be complex and brilliant. So again, someone that thinks maybe the same way I am, of like the next 3 episodes are going to be a bit more complex. Hopefully not just a training montage of Obi-Wan. But I think it's I think Obi-Wan's still in decent physical shape. I think he's just broken mentally.
Yeah. I
Right.
think so.
Yeah. That was it. That was it. Yeah. He didn't look like, he wasn't carrying, he hadn't been drinking Jawa juice all those years and had the big old beer belly. Which again, Jawa juice sounds like a very troubling beverage. What part of the Jawa did they juice to get Jawa juice? That's like what part of the chicken is the McNugget? Things that don't need answering. But yeah, no, he looked like physically, he was older, but look at, Christopher Lee's Count Dooku. He was old as hell and he was still doing flips and shit. And Yoda was 900. I mean, the Force takes care of a lot of that shit. So, but when you're not in connection with the Force, I mean, look at how he was just getting his ass whooped by everybody. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers kicked the shit out of him. Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's very, very true. Any other thoughts about like the Vader fight before we maybe look at some other stuff that's happened? Like,
I mean, that was the big part of it.
That
obviously,
was the big thing of this 3-episode arc for sure. So maybe let's go to a few favorite scenes or moments from the show that aren't necessarily this Vader fight. Katie, start with you. What else has stood out so far in 3 episodes?
I really like little Leia. I think she's really
yes.
great and she's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see how her character grows and develops.
Absolutely.
I love the rooftop run and gun, ending with obviously Obi-Wan finally breaking through and grabbing little Leia she was following, because the run and gun thing was very evocative of like the spy thriller, like the action adventure spy thriller, like 24 or The Punisher or something. I just thought that was super cool. I love seeing, Obi-Wan as a marksman. I mean, don't stop at shooting General Grievous in the friggin' heart. Just shoot everybody. I mean, yeah, he's deft. And I did like him kind of fumbling his way through trying to fight, when he was in, basically when he was in Breaking Bad, he was in the meth lab, the spice lab. And I dug that scene when he threw the spice to get away, and then he flashed to the next scene and see the guys are like, looking at their fingers. And I say to April when we're watching this, I'm like, oh, dude, I can smell the colors now. Yeah. I mean, just like you've never seen anybody just that whacked out of their gourd on spice. So it was like, yeah, it was kind of cool. I liked it.
Oh, Mark, nope. I think you might still be muted, bud.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Yeah,
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I said, sorry. I was saying we've heard of spice so much in Star Wars, but this is the first time we've ever like seen someone that's basically like licking the walls, like the snozberries taste like snozberries. That is new for Star Wars, and I loved it. For me, I also loved Kumail Nanjiani's
totally
character,
the schemer.
The whole thing where he's like walking through and he has the lightsaber like front and center, which is not really Jedi-esque at all. And he's doing the, he's got the magnet hands and everything's timed. And it's like, it's so funny because it's also like a little bit of like the Disney magic kind of thing that you'd see at the parks, but like there it's like the suspension of disbelief and you're like, oh my God, I'm in Star Wars. And in this, it's like, hold on for a second there, you schemer. And I love that kind of like juxtaposition of what works in real life. And then in this, you're calling him out for his BS. But I want to go back to Star Wars land. So whatever.
Yeah, right.
I really just wanted to see a spin-off series of just him and that little kid, like him and his little like street urchin kid, like doing scheming.
Like it's Aladdin.
Like I just want like a sitcom type of deal with just him and that kid getting into the antics and then getting out of the antics.
Oh man,
maybe great.
Maybe that'll show up in Skeleton Crew because that's going to be nothing but antics.
That's
high jinx.
I would 100% watch that. Any favorite characters? I think Haja and Leia for me are two standouts. What about you guys?
Oh, definitely Haja.
Yeah, I Leia without a doubt, and Haja would love to see him again, but we probably won't. But yeah, I thought he was great.
Yep. Any theories for what we're gonna see? Let's start kind of wrapping this up. Unless you guys have some stuff to talk about for the rest of these episodes, let's talk about theories going forward.
Katie, please.
Oh, I think we kind of already touched on some of them as far as, we're going to obviously have, Ben, Obi-Wan getting back into kind of his groove because, we do see him in Rebels, I believe it was, where he fought Maul.
Right.
Yeah,
And won fairly easily. So obviously he is going to get his mojo back. He's going to, kind of reconnect with the Force in some way, shape, or form. I think we will see some sort of final standoff
Right.
against him and Vader in some way, shape, or form. But I'm really interested to see how he's going to be able to go back to Tatooine and not have any suspicion on him, because obviously the Inquisitors had a deep suspicion that he was there.
Right.
So I'm curious to know how that doesn't end up coming back to bite him in the ass later, and that he's able to have,
I
them.
mean, then they were also chasing that other random dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
Right.
you got to keep in mind. You always wonder, like, well, why didn't Vader go back and blow up Tatooine because he hates it so much? It's just they're busy doing other shit. I mean, really,
Right. Well, that's what I wonder, like, how they're going to wrap it up, where Vader will
Right.
give up this hunt at some point, because obviously he does.
Well,
so what is going to be the motivating factor to have him
Look,
give up that
Tatooine
hunt?
base. Vader hates sand. He can't go there.
Exactly. And my guess is that if there is a climactic duel between Vader and Obi-Wan at the end of this, Obi-Wan will fake his death or appear to have died in some fashion, so Vader would be like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's why, we meet again, Obi-Wan, and the reason he doesn't spend the next 9-10 years chasing him is that he thinks that there's nobody to chase. So I don't know, though. Retconning, updating some of the dialogue, I suppose, from A New Hope, where it's a presence I've not felt since, and so left you with the impression that they really hadn't seen each other in 20 years, but in this case it was 10 years, and Obi-Wan knows that Vader's still alive, and will know that Vader's still alive moving forward, but perhaps Vader doesn't know the same about Obi-Wan, which is why he doesn't chase him.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from Reva, like, no one really believed that Obi-Wan was anywhere near Tatooine. It seemed like they were just like the whole thing. Like, I saw a lot of people of like, if they knew Leia was, who she was, like nobody knew. They were just kidnapping Bail's daughter because Bail was close to Obi-Wan. Like, that was just happenstance that it happened to be Leia, and she was who she is. But so I think as much as I kind of like the character and I'm kind of digging like how she approaches things, I don't think Reva's making it out of this.
Oh yeah, she's because we know the Grand Inquisitor's not actually dead, right? So he's gonna be like dun dun dun. That's
the next thing I was gonna ask. What do you guys think with the Grand Inquisitor?
He's gonna pop up after his trip out of a back to tank and like behead her. She's done. She's donezo, as the kids said. Did the kids say that? I don't know. I say that. I heard it in a show. I heard a young person say it in a show like 7 or 8 years ago. So maybe, she's toast. I mean, Grand Inquisitor is going to stand up and he'll have a Band-Aid over the lightsaber stab wound and be like, and then just chop her head off. So there's Papa don't take no mess. It's going to be over.
You don't think it's his twin brother, and he's just going to come up and be like, "Hey, my name's."
The bland Inquisitor.
Deer Fest. They do the whole thing. They kill Landfill, and then his twin brother comes in and he's like, "You guys can call me Landfill." And it's like this 30-minute chunk in that movie that doesn't matter. They could do that with the Inquisitor. No, the twin brother just comes in. He's like, "You guys can call me the Grand Inquisitor too."
Yeah.
Sweet.
There you go. It's like Seymour Skinner faking his identity in The Simpsons. It was yeah. Armin Tamzarian, that's who he is.
I have to say that when the Inquisitor got stabbed, I let out an audible gasp of shock.
It was just 100 sphincters slamming shut.
Yeah, there's been a few of those moments in this show that it's just been like, and I love that they're not afraid to, I don't want to say mess with canon, but like subvert your expectations of what is canon, because we know so much about what happens after this show and with some of these characters that when you see something like Obi-Wan getting dragged through flames, then you're like, have I seen like any of Obi-Wan's body other than his face? Not really. The Inquisitor getting like shish kebabbed, just that kind of stuff is just like, wow, like they are not afraid to just come at me with some of these surprises.
They're going for it. Crazy.
So what do you guys think? So we've had rumors of a season 2.
Right. Yeah, that was the buzz yesterday. But
and
I think I shared a post on SFU, and I'll go on record as saying I just don't think so. I just don't think so. I think this was enough of a foray into this kind of period of time in this setting that you don't really want to mess with, because Obi-Wan is there watching Luke, and some of those, even I think a couple of years after this, or maybe a couple of years before this, canonically have been covered in the current Marvel Comics run. And then you have this show, so it's just how much more do they gotta stick in there? I myself would love this to be a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Katie?
Yeah, I would say I hope not, because I am very much of the same vein as that. I would really love to see them, start branching out and telling other stories outside of this particular timeline. Like, they have the High Republic, kids show coming out. Like, let's do some High Republic stuff in other veins, or let's go, 3,000 years in the future. What does that look like?
Yeah, right.
That's just because there is a very cool
I
rich world.
skipped over in the Star Wars Celebration is they've said Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is going to be the next one officially made. So, and we know nothing about that. That could be 3,000 years in the future.
He's a fantastic writer and director, so I'm super stoked to see what he does. I think that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that's I feel like this is kind of, at this point, this was already just supposed to be a movie. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that they're turning it into a 6-episode series, and now if they're going like, okay, we're going to make a season 2, I'm just going to be like, do you really have story for that? Because you barely have story for a first season.
I'm just not buying it. You're right, because they're going to stretch it out, and we might get, a fever dream flashback episode, and then there'll be a training montage, and then there'll be a big fight. Yeah, I don't want more. I don't want more, and I love it, but I don't want more, because more is going to be less. It was the whole reason why Book of Boba Fett didn't work. He's a side character. We don't need to know what he had for breakfast the third Sunday after the end of Mandalorian season 2. And then you don't need to double down by making the show about Mando anyway. And give people Baby Yoda, Grogu, which is what they want anyway. And then we'll throw it back to Boba Fett, and there's a baby Rancor. And
the Quinlan Voss name drop in this the third episode. Do you guys think that's who rescued Grogu? Is that time?
Yeah, that's a theory that's going around. I think so. It moves some younglings once in a while. He could have been the one that obviously moved Grogu from spot to spot, because we don't know how long Grogu was sitting his little pram on that planet he was on with Queel. Mm-hmm. You don't know how long he was sitting there. So hopefully he wasn't sitting there for 20 years not eating. He needs his chicky nuggies and his live frogs.
Yeah, and frog eggs.
Frog eggs, yes, exactly.
I think that's kind of it, unless you guys have more to talk about. I think we're about that time anyway. I'm sure we can keep talking about this for quite a while.
I loved it. I'm really hoping that the backfill of the episodes deliver, and it sounds like we're of general consensus that hopefully these season 2 rumors just become something else, because it just doesn't really seem to click.
For me, it depends on how they finish this. And if there's a story worth telling.
Right.
If someone comes up and there's someone there, or Dave Filoni says, you know what, I cracked it. I know what season 2 is going to be. Mm-hmm. And we kind of expect these series and stuff to take place over a little while, but he could basically do it 24 style, where it's like, there's a day that Obi-Wan had that's just a little bit bonkers. Mm-hmm. And here is 24 hours of Obi-Wan's life where some shit went down, and it's highly entertaining, and we got a little bit more character development that again might lead up to that how he centered himself for that Maul battle, because there's a lot more going on than surface level on that episode of Rebels. Break down the very subtle movements of that sword fight, and it's you could write a book on the subtleties of that one. So give me something like that where he's tapping into that, where he's finally tapping back into the Force, talking to Qui-Gon, doing whatever. Could be an interesting character study for even a couple more episodes. But if the interest is there from the actors and they have a story that's cracked, but I definitely don't want to see it where they're just like phoning it in, jumping the shark, just like, hey, everyone's involved and we have a truckload of money. Let's do this. No, thank you. But yeah, I'll wait and see how this finishes and see if there's, someone that can come up with a good story.
Fair. There's some validity to that, but crazy. But yeah, really fired up and looking forward to it. So gimme.
Sure. We'll be covering the next 3 episodes on the next couple of episodes of Holocron Chronicles. But until that time, Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We'll have to have you back. It's we know where to find you anyway, because you're slowly taking over all the Secret Friends shows.
Yeah.
She is our Palpatine.
Thanks for that.
You're very welcome.
Good. Where can people find you on the internet if you want people to find you at all?
Yeah, you can. I'm occasionally on Twitter on QT Geek. That is Q_T Geek. And then you can find me on Instagram for Quintessential Geek.
Excellent.
And has a gallery opening later this week. Ooh,
yes,
which I get to go to.
I do actually. I have a photography exhibition opening on Friday. So
that's great.
If you want to find out more about that, that's under K, just the letter K, Photoscape.
All right.
Sweet. And as for me, I can be found over on Twitter. I'm trying to be better at it. At the C3, spell it out. The wife and I also run the West Michigan chapter of the International Star Trek Fan Club. That's the USS Grand Petoskey. Can be found on socials by that name. I also try to fill up the Secret Friends Unite Facebook group with content when I get the opportunity. So I'm just geeking out all the damn time. That's what I do.
And you can find me at _Canardian on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever. I'm trying to get better at TikTok, but I've been really kind of slacking off and just watching instead of creating. But it happens. You can find me also on our Discord server. And if you want to be a part of that, the links again are in the show notes.
And that's that. Well, alrighty, Roo. Well, friends, thank you as always for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring. And to keep on trucking.
Rex, may the force be with you. Play us out.
You stopped it, right?
No, this is
okay.
Watch you.
Second verse.
Leave this play while we go to bed. I'm stopping. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.